This is the Business Growth Hacks Podcast, presented by Beefy Marketing. Here's your host, Andrew Brockenbush.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode.
Hello.
John, good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
I see you every day, but I guess I have to say, like, it's obligatory. It's good to see you for the people out there that don't know that I see you every day.
Right. Yeah, we got it.
If I didn't say it, I don't know. It would feel awkward.
It would. It wouldn't really
like,
be
what's up, dude?
Introduction to the show. What if we didn't say hi at all? Just like, all right, let's get into it.
Like, okay, do these guys mad at each other?
Yeah.
We've got a cool topic today, but we are going to jump into a icebreaker question that I was thinking about.
I like icebreakers.
Before we got started, because I feel like there's certain days where we're just like kind of running on
Fumes.
So the question is, how many hours a day do you think you work on average?
Man, I mean, it's at least 8, if not more, depending on, because I mean, some days I leave the office early, but when I get home, I'm still, once I got the kids and dinner done, hopping back on it to get something cranked out, just to make my day easier for the next day, or because something needs to go up in the morning if it's Wednesday.
Yeah, if it's Wednesday, exactly, yeah. It seems like it's like a nonstop thing. I think I'm putting in, I mean, I really have never actually done the math to see, like, see truly. But like, let's just say I start, I kind of start my day around 7, try to get started by like working by like around 8, which is not very early. Like, I know there's people that get up way earlier than that, but it's based on the fact that I went to bed the night before at 1 o'clock or something.
Right.
So like last night, I think I went to bed at like 12:30. So like, I don't know. I'm probably putting 12, 13 hours in.
I would say you most definitely are.
Between working here and then as soon as I leave here, I'll go back home, take the dogs out and start all over again.
Yeah. If I call you later, we have a lot of work conversations between 8 and 10 p.m.
Yes.
So I know we're both working.
We're both working
late.
still.
Yeah.
It's so weird. We've got an office and we are productive here, but then you get like a totally different energy. Like, I don't know. It's like almost like a renewed sense of
Well, yeah, I was reading this thing the other day about creativity, and they were saying it's a process.
Yeah.
It is a process. There's things that you can do, even if you're not feeling creative, you can get yourself there.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think some routines that we have, like, from working mobily so long, if I've slipped my computer out on a table, I like get into work mode as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it just happens. So.
And and that's the thing too. Like we both were entrepreneurs and like, I guess, solopreneurs is the word.
Yeah.
Like for a very long time where we both had to kind of learn to like just be creative whenever it came to us.
Right. Yeah.
And so a lot of times for me, like I do still find those late night work sessions to be like some of my most productive.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, if you're on a roll, might as well roll with it.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to go to bed. Like I'm getting shit done. Like,
I'm not nailing it.
I got to get it done. Like, and obviously people out there are probably like, no, that's not a good business growth hack. We need to have like balance. Truth. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You certainly do. But I don't know, at this point of the journey or kind of where we're at in our business, I feel like it's, as long as we set expectations with customers and we do still like prioritize family time and stuff like that.
And
it's okay to put those hours in, but if you're productive, you're productive.
Right,
I don't want to lose that time, especially like when you're at the office all day, you're kind of in work mode all day long.
Right.
And you don't have those creative breaks.
I got you.
But you go home, you pull out your guitar and your amp.
2 minutes later,
you're like, oh, it's like
a
fresh thought or a creative.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've been a couple notes into a riff and been like, I know how to fix that broken thing.
Yeah, like let me put this down for a second.
Yeah.
This is bad, but you work too much whenever like sometimes you're problem solving in your dreams, like legit.
Oh man, yeah, I've done that one.
Where like you're like
work all night and wake up.
You're like, I just literally slept, but worked in my sleep. I was literally problem solving in my dreams. Mm-hmm. Today we're talking about how to repurpose content.
Ooh.
And the reason I wanted to kickstart that conversation with kind of the balance of hours is that it can seem like with how important content marketing is for an overall marketing strategy. And we've talked about this a lot in all of our episodes, like how content is king, is that it can be overwhelming how much time and energy it takes to produce that.
To just come up with content.
And if you have a small team, like, that pain all the more.
The pain of many hats.
Because you wear all the hats. Mm-hmm. You're the blogger, you're the podcaster, you're the video guy, you're the website guy, you're the books person, all the things. And so I want to talk about something that we've kind of mastered. I feel like, we're getting better at it. I'm not saying we're the absolute experts, but we've certainly gotten really good at repurposing content. It was kind of this,
definitely.
I think it was an idea that you and I had where it was like, hey, we want to start this podcast, Business Growth Hacks. We know the kind of the overall messaging and theme and purpose behind it is to support business owners with their growth.
Right.
But how in the heck do we come up with content week after week that's relevant, that is adding value, and we're not trying to add that workload on top of the other things that we're already trying to do, right? Client work, the existing blogs, the existing videos, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And so you and I had this discussion around, what if we took a blog post and read it like a script?
Right.
And we were like, yeah, that would be really cool.
Yep.
And we did that. And it was okay.
It was okay. It was real robotic.
It was robotic.
Yeah.
But I do want to stop there for a second and say it's still a good use of repurposing content. If that's all you can do, because if you think about it, we talked about this, I think in one of our prior episodes about podcasts, is the fact that not everybody has time to read anything anymore.
Right.
So just having that recorded transcription of the blog post, it still might make somebody listen to it. Right.
Because they may not have time to read it, but they might throw that video on in the background while they do
exactly. So it's certainly a great way to repurpose content. But that's kind of what we want to dive into today, is how you can get the most out of the content that you might already be creating. And if you're not creating content yet, if that's not a part of your strategy yet, then we're going to be talking about ways that you can, one, quickly start working on core content, and then how to get the most out of it.
Yep.
We've got to start with a statistic like we always do.
Of course.
And I've got kind of two of them. 70% of marketers are actively investing in content marketing, and 78% of companies have a team of 1 to 3 content marketing specialists.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It proves everything we've been talking about. If people are spending that much money, if there's that many businesses are investing in it,
then it's something,
and they're dedicating that many employees, clearly it's a priority, right? Like clearly we're not lying to you guys. We're not
just making it up to get you to come buy a social or
exactly
SEO
like
package
this.
from us.
This is true. Like this is what people are focusing their energy on. And what kind of sucks about that statistic a little bit is that there's a lot of business owners out there, ourselves included. We're a small boutique team.
Oh yeah.
We can't afford to hire 3 content marketing specialists.
No, probably not.
We've got 1 content marketing specialist and 1 intern who's been helping out a lot lately, who are kind of doing all of that for us in-house and our external clients.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know that we could use 3 or 4 or 5 of those people, but we can't necessarily afford that yet.
Right.
You kind of have to grow to it. And so I think that if we feel that as an agency, an established business that's been around for, going on 10 years, there's definitely other companies out there
that are seeing the same.
They have the same pain point, especially companies that are not marketing agencies.
Oh yeah.
We know to do this because it's our business and we have to do it.
Right.
But for companies that are, they understand it's important, they might not even be investing that money yet in that area.
You're right.
If you're going to spend money in that area, if you're going to do it yourself, then you need to know that every hour spent, everything that you write is going to get the biggest reach it possibly can.
Right.
Right. I think at the end of the day, when you really think about it, there's probably a lot of content you've created over time. Like for us, backing up for a second with our podcast.
Yeah.
Dude, we have 30, 40, 50 or more blog posts that we've written.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
And so once we kind of talked about it, we were like, what if we just took a blog post and kind of created an outline from it and start podcasting about it?
Right.
And it was such a natural flow because the blog post content was our area of expertise. It's what we know. That's why we blogged about it. And so now we just turn it into an outline that of course we can talk about.
Right. Because we know about the topics
you wrote about, right? What I don't have time to do is come up with a whole podcast script. I don't have time for that.
Especially a detail down to the word.
Yeah. It's like how am I
so it's got to be something that we know.
Yeah.
We can't sit here and make up stuff for an hour. It wouldn't be very entertaining unless, we got really creative.
Unless you're just a funny person. Great sense of humor.
I don't see us having a good podcast, just making stuff up, like having no plan at all coming here. And
it would be terrible. People might listen to it because they love us like our moms.
Right.
But some of our friends.
It might even be somewhat funny, but as far as growth hacks and progressing your business, it wouldn't get anywhere.
It would not offer value.
No,
that's right.
Not. Yeah.
And so being able to take that content that we'd already written, stuff that was in our kind of archives, the stuff that's kind of got dust on the shelf type of thing.
Exactly.
We're kind of dusting it off and saying, hey, like,
let's use
this blog that we wrote 3 years ago. Yeah, there's some outdated information there. Let's update it, right? I actually saw a statistic when I was doing research for this episode, actually, that said that some of the marketers that were in this study from HubSpot said that some of their most successful content was content that they just revitalized.
Wow.
Content that they updated with the latest data. So let's just say that we had written a blog post called The Best Social Media Marketing Tips for 2015.
Yeah.
Just update it to be for 2021 and make those changes. That might be the most successful piece of content you have.
It could be.
And you don't even have to rewrite the blog post.
Well, there's no sense in reinventing the wheel if it rolls.
That's right. All you have to do is update the data in it. That didn't require a bunch of effort.
No.
All you had to do was change the year.
Yeah.
Make sure that the information was still relevant.
Right, because
why write it all over again?
Yeah, as long as your content's not outdated, there's no problem in posting it again.
I think that's maybe a great first point in this discussion is as you do create content, think about all your content in an evergreen format.
Okay.
If you've never heard the evergreen word, it's kind of a marketing lingo, but it's like, it's evergreen. It's always going to be relevant. It's always going to be organic. And the benefit there is that if in 10 years we look back on that blog post, we can go, oh, that's still relevant today. Yeah, some statistics have changed. Yes, some of the pointers might have tweaked a little bit, tweaked, adjusted a little bit, but in general, it's still relevant.
As far as time is concerned, you're not writing a whole new article at that point.
That's right.
You're adding a few new facts.
Yeah.
And then you're good to go.
So if when you're creating your content, you think about it with that mindset, your content is going to have a lot longer of a lifespan.
Right.
You'll be able to get more out of it over time.
Yeah.
You've got a note that you left here in our outline here, which is
say it again for the people in the back.
Yes. Before we started today, we did a bunch of little research together because I was intrigued by a couple of things, specifically around social media. Tweets have the shortest lifespan of any social media post.
Oh, absolutely.
Only about 18 minutes.
I didn't realize it was that short.
That is short. So
I know, like, the idea of Twitter is that you tweet.
It's quick, all day. But what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to have a lifespan of a post? It means that in those first 18 minutes on Twitter, that post would have gotten likely its, maximum amount of engagement.
Right.
Yes, some people might trickle in, like it, and retweet it 10 years later.
It'll
happen. Like I've had tweets that randomly it got shared. Because probably somebody was stalking my profile and saw it,
or came up in a memory or something.
Yeah. But the majority of the engagement on that tweet or post is happening in those first 18 minutes.
Yeah, you're guaranteed. Yeah.
Okay. Same thing on Instagram. Instagram, the average lifespan of a post is 48 hours. Those first 48 hours after publishing it, you're going to get the most likes, comments, shares.
Yeah.
Which means after that, you'll notice that you don't see a bunch of likes anymore.
That's absolutely true. Because, you get them for maybe a day or two. And then once that day is over, you're not getting anything else. Yeah.
Facebook. Yeah. I think we both did some data on that one, and it was like kind of a weird mix between 6 to 12, right?
About 6 to 12 hours is about the. I know that the graph I was looking at, they quit measuring after 12 hours, because it was just like that there was no point. There's no data beyond there,
and the engagement on that one I think comes in kind of the first
2.5 hours.
Yeah. So, there again, it's like the reason I'm bringing all these numbers up is because I'm saying. You've spent all this time and money and energy on creating you've crafted these perfect social media posts. Yeah. And you most likely posted something 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago that was basically in front of your audience for 2 hours.
Right.
And then that was the only time they saw it.
And that was it. Yeah.
And you never shared it again.
And it seems like you're missing on people engaging with that content.
Yep. Average engagement rates. This number is pretty alarming.
Oh, man.
Less than 1%.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, again, what do I mean by that? The average engagement rate on your social media posts is less than 1% of your followers are actually liking it, clicking on it, sharing it.
Okay. I will say that is probably 100% accurate though, because you think about it, somebody with 1 million followers posts something.
Yeah.
It has like maybe 1,000 likes.
That's right. And if you really think, and that's the thing too, like it's all, it's relative, right? Like the more fans you have, the more likes you'll have.
Right.
But it's still not a big number. It's still just that 1%.
In the grand scheme of things,
Now, 1% is the average. There are definitely brands out there that see way higher engagement rates, and there's definitely brands that see way lower. 1% is the average engagement rate. Yeah. The other thing that kind of sucks about social media is the average reach rate is 15%. So what do I mean by reach versus engagement? Engagement is people who actually clicked on your post, shared it, that kind of thing. Whereas the reach rate is the percentage of people that even saw it.
Yeah.
Okay. The industry like benchmark, the goal you want to hit is a reach rate of around 15%. That sucks.
Yeah, that's not even like good numbers.
No,
there.
It's like if you have 100 fans,
if you get
15
of them,
15 people,
you did good.
Saw it.
Yeah.
So you wonder why, I only have 100 fans.
Yeah.
Why did I only get 1 like? Only 15 of the 100 fans even saw it.
Yeah. I know. I've had that happen many times. Like I've had posts for shows that I was playing and, after the fact, it's over. Hey, when are you doing that? Like, it's been on Facebook for weeks. We never even saw it.
Didn't even know. It's like,
I'm taking all this time to post this every single day and no one saw it.
That's right. So I think that the reason why I'm bringing all this up is that you spent a lot of time and energy and money on this. One, don't be afraid to post that content again.
No.
It is not redundant.
Say it again for the people in the back. Somebody didn't hear.
Somebody didn't see it. Somebody did not hear it. It is okay to share it again because it only reached those 15% likely anyways.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now you can dive into your own analytics and see what your average reach rates are.
And it will probably vary.
It'll vary.
Yeah.
But I'd say in general, it's a low number of people that are actually seeing your content. And there's not really much you can do about it because the algorithms just kind of suck.
Yeah.
Yes, you can create better content. Yes, the more engagement you get, the higher those numbers go up. There's a lot of like social hacks that will certainly help with those numbers.
Right.
And it's one of those that we always kind of joke in the marketing world. It's like a pay to play space, meaning like if you want the maximum reach, you got to run ads, right? Like pay to play. So I think that it's okay to repost the content on social.
Right.
And that is honestly kind of just like the base level of the pyramid to like repurposing content.
Yeah.
Just repost the existing content you have.
Just put it back up.
It doesn't even have to be used for anything else other than repost it.
Post it back.
A lot of marketers will actually even say that if you know that Facebook is a great place for you to communicate with your audience, like if you know that that's where they're at and you know that your impression rates are low, go ahead and post more than 1 time a day.
Yeah.
Post 2 or 3 times a day. That way you're showing up.
You're
to those different segments. Some people get on Facebook 5 o'clock in the morning before they go to work.
And the guy that gets on at noon isn't going to see your post from 5 a.m.
It's pretty much already gone.
Yeah, it's more than 2.5 hours.
And I would say that's not all algorithm based, but if you think about kind of how a feed works, I guess linearly, if 1,000 people posted after you posted, then you just got pushed back in that queue.
Exactly.
So it's like, unless they're like really following every notification that you post.
They're looking at every single time they get a notification, they go look at it. Yeah.
Then likely you just kind of got pushed back, And,
yeah.
So I think that, yes, say it again for the people in the back because not everyone has even heard what you said the first time.
Right.
I think if advertisers have taught us anything, it is that you've got to repeat your messaging
over and over.
All right. We looked at that too.
Yeah.
I want you to break this down because I thought you found some cool stuff here.
So what I was looking at is basically the first time that you see an ad, it's just kind of creating an awareness that thing exists, but you aren't really giving thought to it. From your 3 to 5 times, you're actually starting to notice that this is a real thing and you're starting to read the actual advertisement. You know what it is.
Wow.
You
so
really
3 times before you even cared to read it.
Yeah, 3 to 5 times before you ever even actually read the ad for what it's for. I'd say I'm guilty of this sometimes because I've read an ad and been like, oh, that's not even at all what I thought. Wow, they're doing that?
Yeah.
And I've been seeing this thing in the post office for like a month,
Exactly.
Yeah. And then so from the 6th to 7th time, something funny happens because you start to get annoyed. Why am I seeing this ad everywhere?
Yeah. Ugh.
But then it kind of becomes a Family Guy joke And it comes funny again on the 8th to 9th time because it's like, well, why am I seeing this ad so much? Why do they have so much money? Why are they advertising this?
Yeah.
Is it a good fit for me?
Start having that FOMO.
So about the 10th time, you start asking friends about it. That's when word of mouth starts, about the 10th impression. And then anywhere from 15 to 20 is when you're starting to decide, okay, I'm going to buy that. And I think by the 20th impression, if you've been on the fence, you're going to buy.
That's ridiculous.
So I know that tells me that, you know, if I wanted to sell a pen, I need to post 20 ads to sell that pen.
Yeah. That is crazy.
It seems like an absurd number.
Yeah.
But if you think about the Facebook algorithms and, you know, just how things, like you said, it just get pushed back in the queue, I might need to post at least 5 to 6 times a day to ensure that at every, you know, benchmark in the day that, you know, breakfast, dinner, lunch, all that my post is up there. That way, when those people are coming, there's something there for them to engage with at the time that they're engaging. Because you're also not going to get people on social media to engage you while they're asleep or working.
Yeah.
You got to meet them during their time.
Yeah, where they're at.
And so if that's another thing we've talked about before too, you know, knowing your audience, know who you're going after, know what platforms they're on, know where they're posting, know when they're posting.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I think that's,
you gotta,
yeah, it's wild to me that it takes that many touch points.
Yeah.
But it's like, it just goes to show how important it is to repeat yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And then not just that, like, I love how you just talked about the audience a little bit and how important it is to know your audience. And I think that that's another thing that we, as I think just business owners in general, marketers especially, is that we got caught up with like wanting to always do something new and exciting and fun, that we sometimes like forget that like we've already created a bunch of awesome shit.
Yeah. Traditions are traditions for a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
like
yeah, don't be afraid to try new things, but don't be afraid to do the same old thing that works.
That's right. And don't be afraid to just reshare the stuff that's already been effective. I mean, if you shared a post and it got 500 likes, well then damn, it did good. Share it again.
Share it again. Yeah. Don't be like too many people saw it, I'm not going to share that.
There's a whole other window of people that didn't. You can double up on that, you know?
They could end up sharing that same content again because they saw it the first time, and when you post it again, they're like, oh yeah, that was so good for me. Yeah. And they share it.
I think repurposing content is kind of all about finding the most helpful ideas from kind of all this common content that you've already created consistently. Right. Blog posts, social media posts, things like that. Even presentations you've done, you know, corporate presentations.
Right, yeah.
And then reimagining it, reusing it in another format or another
giving
content.
It a spin.
And the cool thing about that is like that can take you to a whole new audience too.
Oh yeah.
Right? Use your good ideas in more than one place because you're going to get to reach more audiences. For example, we've not dabbled in the world of TikTok yet.
No.
And as a team, we keep joking about like, we need to create TikTok. We need to create TikTok.
But honestly, we probably really should.
We should.
Yeah.
Because we've got all this content we've created for our podcast. We've created it for our blog.
We have lots of video. Yeah.
We just need to turn it into video content. And people will, because then we're reaching a whole new audience that doesn't even know that we exist yet.
Right.
Right.
Because the TikTokers have no idea what's going on Twitter.
No.
Most likely because it's different age groups for one.
And they don't know anything about Beefy.
Yeah.
That's for sure. They don't know about, you know, business growth hacks and what we're doing.
Right.
So it's like, we need to take this content we've already spent the time, energy, and, you know, money on creating.
Well, and where is someone that's starting a business probably going to be on social media right now?
That's right.
On one of the newer platforms.
Just hanging out, watching stuff, learning.
Yep.
You know, so again, I think that's what's cool about social content about repurposing content is you really can not only get into a new reach of audience, and I'm using TikTok as an example, but the platforms, dude, you've got Pinterest, you've got Twitter, Clubhouse, YouTube, LinkedIn, the list goes on and on, Facebook, right? Like, whatever, like, no joke, we could take this same topic right here and turn it into a presentation that we teach.
Oh, absolutely.
A group of 30 people who come in and take this class from us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We could take any of our blog posts and make a free ebook from it.
Yep. Absolutely.
We could take any of our...
I was thinking, if you have a couple different blog posts along the same subject, you could combine those into an ebook very easily, you know?
Yeah. I think sometimes you don't need more content.
Right.
You just need to see where else the content you've already created can be applied.
Exactly. Because you already have good stuff here.
That's right.
No one has seen it yet.
Yeah.
Don't waste it. You paid to have that created.
Yeah.
Or you spent time creating it.
I've had clients tell me before, like, we should redesign our website. And I'm like, why do you think that? And like,
why?
Well, because, conversions or something else like that. And I'm like, well, wait a second. What does our traffic look like? Well, our traffic's low. It's like, okay, well then we don't know that the website design is not good. We're not driving enough traffic to the website to see what they really think. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with content. Yeah. We're not driving enough attention to the content we've already created to see what people think about it and how they're going to react.
And in some cases, you could be wasting time by trying to come up with fresh content if you haven't utilized the main point you were trying to drive home in the first place.
Yeah.
If the entire internet doesn't know what you do based off of your logo, you got work to do still.
Yeah. So I think kind of how we're not wrapping the podcast up here, but the rest of the podcast today, I think I'm going to kind of just power through some
practical
ways that you can repurpose content.
Good.
Because, and honestly, I don't want to waste a bunch of time just like trying to make it sound like it is more than it is. It should be easy.
Right. It is fairly simple concept.
So I'm going to talk about some of those things. Mm-hmm. And I think that these ideas that we're going to leave you with should really put you in a position where you should be able to take the content you've got and start really maximizing it and start getting the most out of it so that you feel like you're not having to spend more money and whatever else. So I think one of the easiest ways is to start with your blogs.
Yeah.
We've talked about this quite a bit in this this episode and other episodes, but start with the blog post that you already have on your website. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a blog, don't check out soon, right? Like I've got ideas for those of you that don't have blogs, but for those of you that guys have blogs on your website, one of the easiest things that you can do with that content, one, you can turn it into a PDF downloadable.
Yep.
Right? Sometimes I've had this happen. People will get onto your blog and they are researching a specific topic or article and they don't have time to read it right then. And they actually just need to download that info so that when they go to their corporate meeting or whatever, they can present it. Right? Like, hey, here's what Beefy Marketing has to say about this. This is what I found about this.
Right.
And so literally just by creating a downloadable PDF version of a blog post,
you could increase the people that read it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you're collecting email addresses potentially. I've noticed that a lot of long form blog posts, they'll do that. They'll say, don't have time to read this right now.
Right.
Download it. We'll send it to you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And they might even add a couple of extra bonuses. Like, hey, if you download this, we'll also send you a checklist.
And the free guide and whatever.
Yeah. So that's one of the easy ways. Another thing you can do with blog posts, one of my favorites because it should take you no time at all, is this is almost a business growth hack because of how good this one is, I think. Take your blog posts. Likely they're going to be somewhere between 750 to 1,500 words.
Yep.
That's typically kind of the average blog post length. And try to get 5, 10, 15, 20 one-sentence phrases that were written in your blog post that could be turned into social media content. Oh, you need to post every day on social media? How am I going to come up with 30 days of social media content?
Well, you got this blog.
One blog post just came up with 20 to 30 social media posts.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and all of a sudden, this daunting task of, oh my God, my editorial calendar becomes,
that was easy. That filled up fast.
Bad.
Yeah. Especially if you know that, hey, every Monday we're sharing let's not call it blog. Every Monday we're sharing marketing tips.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, how did I come up with those marketing tips? Right. I copied and pasted them from my blog. I didn't have to come up with new tips.
No.
They were already in my blog post that I already wrote.
Stuff that I've approved and I support. Done. And unless there's statistics that need to be updated.
That's right.
You're good to go.
You're good to go. That's social content, right? So that's an easy one to get more social content.
It's a good one, man. That could be a hack.
No, like that one is piece of cake.
Yeah.
Case in point. If you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever platform you listen to it on, if you open up the show description and look at the show notes, you will notice that there are tweetable quotes from myself and John from every episode. The episode you're listening to right now probably has a great quote. And it's stuff that we said that our writer thinks that, hey, that right there is something that people should know.
Yeah.
So what's so cool about that is this podcast is being doubled up into social content.
Yep.
Not only is it social content, because we have a show notes, it's also a blog post.
Right.
Right? Like, look how the blog turned into a podcast. The podcast turned into a whole new
blog.
Living blog.
Yeah.
What? Like, how did that work? You know, like, it's crazy.
And it affects your SEO because now you have 2 articles on the same subject on your website.
And honestly, they're very different.
And honestly, if they're the only 2 articles on the internet, you just became an authority.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Like, yeah, there might be 1,000 million podcasts about what I do, web design.
Yeah.
But what you do, you might be the only guy that knows how to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to talk about what you're an expert at.
Yeah.
And even if there are other people that are doing it, who cares?
Who cares?
Everyone has a different, approach.
Your thoughts are not my thoughts.
I think that I love that one just because I feel like that one's stupid easy.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that another one could be turning your, so I'm gonna stay on that blog post topic because I think blog posts are really where you can get so much out of the blog post.
Well, it's a lot of things that people are paying to have done.
That's right, already. Because blog posts are relatively affordable.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the ballparks of $75 to $150 a blog post.
Right.
It's like, okay, if I write a writer, because then you're only paying one writer.
Yeah.
Once she writes that, then you internally can say, okay, well, what else can I do with that piece of written content?
I can take it a sentence at a time and pull it apart. Awesome. Yeah.
Yep. I think another thing you can do with a blog post is you can turn it into what's called a Prezi. A Prezi is like a presentation.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that is you literally just kind of sentence by sentence, you add and maybe parts of the blog you don't put it in there. It shouldn't be like full paragraphs,
right?
But it's like the big ideas.
Yeah.
And then you can publish your Prezi on platforms like LinkedIn, where on LinkedIn those get shared quite frequently.
And honestly, if there aren't very many people that do what you do, this is a good way to easily put yourself in a spotlight because, man, some trade show guy sees your article and starts using it, teaching, and all of a sudden they're asking you to teach.
Yeah. I've published several of my blogs on LinkedIn just like on a whim, being like, how will this go?
Yeah.
And they've gone viral on LinkedIn, and I'm like, what the heck?
What happened?
Like, I don't even ever do this. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
And I've just been like shocked at like how a blog post that was already written for my website.
Well, yeah. When I first came to our website, like the question that I had was, how do I get more videos easily? How do I get video scripts? And we decided, well, go read the blog, see what's on there.
That's right.
And I started reading our blog, and I don't know how many people read their own company's blog, but it helped me do my job here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that's actually that's a great point. A lot of people probably blog because it's like the thing to do, but it's like, it actually is really helpful as an employee.
Yeah. Have you ever read your company's blog? There's probably something useful in there
that you can learn. That you can learn.
Maybe like a little thing that's been annoying you every day that, I can fix that by doing this.
Yeah. I think another thing out of blogs that, we've already talked about it today, but is the podcast scripts.
Yeah.
And same thing for video scripts. I could literally sit here in front of the camera, and do a summary video of whatever it is that my blog talked about.
Absolutely.
And maybe back and forth between the video that we shoot of me. Maybe we also have a screen being shared of me walking you through the tools that I use.
Right.
Or maybe just showing you the screen of what those analytics that we talk about actually look like. All of a sudden, that blog post is way more dynamic.
Yeah.
Right? That blog post feels like it's way richer. It's got way more to it.
Yeah, I love links in a post because, they tell you about this thing. It's like, oh, well, I want to see that thing.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree. My favorite kind of blogs are, they call them listicles, which is weird.
I get you. Yeah.
But like list blog posts that just list out different software and tools. I love those because it's like, I never even heard about this tool.
That's really all I'm trying to find.
I'm just looking for new tricks and tools anyways.
Yeah.
So blogs, clearly one of the best places to start.
Absolutely.
Another thing you could do is work with your live presentations.
Yeah.
If you're a public speaker, salesman, whatever, you could easily turn just the video of that into small bite-sized social media content.
Absolutely.
TikTok videos.
Yep. You get a longer format. You have teaching.
That's actually a great point. We have a client, a Navy SEAL. We have a lot of Navy SEAL clients, strangely, but one of our Navy SEAL clients, somehow we get involved, who was a public speaker.
Yeah.
And we actually recorded multiple of his speaking engagements and kind of cut them all together and created this really nice long kind of promo video of his speaking engagements. Same thing in your business. You could literally take kind of the highlights of what you talk about and put it together to offer yourself as a speaker, to offer yourself as a consultant, whatever.
We've talked about your website being your brick and mortar.
Yep.
Why not have a salesman, a video telling you exactly the sales pitch at your brick and mortar store?
Exactly.
You know, I mean,
great point.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like, because text only goes so far.
It really does.
You know?
I could read something 1,000 times, but, you know, you have someone look at you and say it and look you in the eye and say, this is a thing. It's different than reading it off of paper.
Yeah.
Like, even if what they said's entirely untrue, I'm still considering it because they looked at me and gave me a reassuring glance or something. I'm like, well, maybe what they said was good, even if it wasn't. And I'm not saying you can read a lot into that about deception or whatnot.
Sure,
but my main point is that say what you're trying to say, you know?
Yeah. And even if you're not a public speaker, I think that everyone has the ability to be someone who could be a speaker.
I think I believe it's the number one fear in the world.
Really?
But
it's actually really. I mean, I don't doubt it.
Yeah, public speaking is everybody's fear. No one wants to talk.
And everyone's just told to like imagine everyone in their underwear, which never works.
That doesn't work.
It does not work.
It just gets you thinking really weird.
Now I'm just thinking strange thoughts.
Yeah, like
it's like I don't want to see that guy.
Now I'm just distracted in my mind. Yeah.
I bring that up to say, another great way to utilize your existing content is maybe you've got some case studies as a company. Maybe you have some sales resources that you guys use when you go pitch a sales, a new client.
Yeah.
Turn that into webinars.
Oh, yeah.
You've already got this content that you use in your sales approach. Why don't you create a webinar from that?
Well, or you could take it and you turn it into a webinar for salesmen for your company.
Exactly.
So you're teaching how to do the sales process.
Because everything we're talking about right now is a lot like externally, marketing, but it can also be used internally.
Absolutely.
Right? Like one of the things we do a lot is there's a software called Loom, Loom. I just don't even know how to talk. Loom. That is a screen sharing video recording app.
Yeah.
Very easy to use, very cool. And we use that a lot of times to train our customers
on how to
do things on the back of their websites or things like that. Also give them quick pieces of feedback on a project. We also use it internally to train on new processes.
Yeah.
And then that same content, again, can be utilized over and over again.
Because then we can turn that out into a client course. We can turn it into just a out for the public course.
Yeah. Like, for example, I think I mentioned this in another podcast. If I did, it's okay. I'm going to share it again. But like I was asking this guy.
Don't be afraid to reuse that.
I'm going to use it again. I'm going to use it again. If you didn't listen, that's right. Because great point, John.
Because only 1% of the people have heard.
Listen to episode 1 through how many ever episodes we are now. Yeah. So one of the stories I shared in one of our prior episodes was about a guy who I was asking, like, how did you write your book? You've written 2 or 3 books. And he's like, basically what I do is I kind of just like create bullet points of kind of the overall like vision of the chapters.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so you write your chapters, the name of your chapters down, kind of from A to Z. Where does he want to start? Where does he want to go?
Right. Yeah.
And then he just pulls out his voice memos app on his phone
and then
records those chapters. When I say records them, he just
starts talking.
Yeah. It isn't like formatted like today on. Right. Blah, blah, blah. It's just him rambling all the data he has about each of those things. Then he takes turns it to a transcription service like Rev.
Rev is one of them.
I think it's called Rev. I could be saying.
I know that Rev creates
Rev.
What's it called for us? Closed caption.
Yeah, Rev.com. They do closed caption and they also do transcriptions. So he sends it to a company like Rev.com, and they will actually take that audio and turn it into Word text documents.
Yeah.
He turns that over to his ghostwriter.
Yeah, and then
who helps take all his thoughts.
So all he did was think about something.
That's all he did.
Yeah.
And so what's so cool about that is for people that are like, I'm not good at video or I'm not good at writing my processes.
There are people who
jump on Loom, jump on audio. Start with that.
Yeah.
Just get your thoughts out.
Get it going.
Because there's other people probably within your own organization or externally that can help you get the most out of that.
Well, unless you have something fixed, it's really hard, especially with creative stuff, to get exactly what you're going for across. And so just the act of fixing something tangible, even if it is kind of rough, it's something you can work on.
Yeah.
As opposed to nothing. Because, I mean, I'm not discounting the power of ideas, but an idea without any execution is virtually useless.
Yeah. I know that I've talked to, one of my favorite copywriters, a lady named Carol. And I told her a few times, like, I really want to write a book. I really want to write a book. She's like, well, what's it about? And I'm like, I don't know. That's your job.
That's your job.
And she's like, no, Andrew. She's like, I got to know something. And so when I talked to that guy and he kind of gave me that like idea, I was like, oh, it's really, really smart actually. Like I can talk about myself. I can talk about the things I'm passionate about. How do I, discern that into something that's like very practical and people can, go, oh, this makes sense. And it makes sense, again, A to Z, I don't, it doesn't have to be my job to do that part.
No.
Let me just get the info out.
Right.
And the people who have the stronger skills than me, like writers,
can
say, oh, this is really great info. Here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And they can kind of help you create a better outline. And then you're like, dang, that makes me sound really smart. Awesome.
Well, that's just all your ideas organized.
Exactly. I'm not great at organization, but I'm certainly passionate about the things I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
I think that all of this comes back to the fact that every single piece of content you create, blogs, videos, audio, social media posts, it's literally like this big churn system. It can all flow into another thing. A social media post can be a video. A social media post can be a blog post.
It can be.
A podcast can be a blog. A blog can be a podcast. It is so bizarre just how
you can reverse engineer everything. Yeah.
So start where you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Whatever you excel at, whatever you have the most of. If you have a bunch of Facebook posts, cool. See which one of those did the best and maybe write some blogs based off of those.
That's right. And if you're not the person that's the best blogger, send those Facebook lives or Facebook videos to a writer and say, this is what I want to get across in this blog post.
Yeah.
And she can go, okay. Or he can go, all right.
Yeah.
They'll do that part, turn it back to you. Now you've got blog content, which is beautiful for SEO.
Beautiful.
Right? And then you look at that blog post and say, this gives me an idea for an ebook. This gives me an idea for a product or presentation or a webinar or whatever, because it really is endless how much life you can get out of one piece of content.
It really is.
Especially
in a format where the content's lifetime isn't very long.
I'm doing this on the fly right here, but I'm going to kind of just do some randomness here. So let's just say one blog. What can you get out of one blog? A video.
We can get a video.
Right.
We could get an ebook.
An ebook. Podcast. You hear my clickers
script
over here?
Yeah.
Podcast. You could create social posts.
Yeah. You can get social posts.
I'd say like times 10 or more.
I'd say everything. Yeah. You could get a bunch of social posts.
Video, I'd say times 2, because you can do one that's like
just a read through,
and another one can actually be an explanation.
One could be a presentation of that information.
Oh, there you go. Webinar. Live video.
Yeah.
How about
you could even do a
class or a workshop outline? I mean, I could keep going.
I think we could keep going because you want a brochure? You need a brochure? Well, go to your website, find
book.
out. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that also comes back and drives home the point that, quality content, like what you're putting in your website, is it something that's going to engage people?
Yeah.
Or is it something that's going to push them away?
That's right. That one blog post, I just counted all these up.
Yeah.
2 videos, an ebook, podcast, 10 social media posts, a webinar, a live video, blah, 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 is about 20-ish pieces of content out of one blog.
So we have enough out of one blog to create enough impressions to get a sell, huh?
That's right.
Because about 20 impressions is
out of one piece of content you spent time on. All right.
Yeah.
Now, if you start to think about the fact that we blog 4 times a month, but that's all we can afford to do right now.
Okay.
Well, hey, if you repurpose it, that's 80 pieces of new content on different verticals, different platforms, different types of mediums.
Yeah. And we're not talking you have to have a 4-page essay on every one of these things, especially social. I mean, some of them limit the amount of characters you can use.
And you don't have to have the fanciest camera. You don't have to have
No.
Like literally take your phone out, take that blog post, and do a quick little social video.
Yeah.
Record a quick little podcast
Record
episode.
it on your phone. If you want to get fancy, you could even buy a cheap little USB-C mic to go in there to sound a little bit better.
Yeah. You can even take that blog and seriously, for something as simple as an ebook, pull it into a software like Canva, which is a free design tool.
Oh, yeah.
Drop the text in, add some graphics and images, put your logo on the back, and it's a PDF ebook.
Yep.
Like, that's all it took.
Absolutely.
So it's just, it gets me excited because...
I love the concept of this because, one, it gives us so much versatility with what we can do for people and for ourselves.
Yeah. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, what if I'm just, what if my audience gets tired of seeing the same thing over and over again? What if they're bored? first of all, we talked about that today.
Yeah.
Impressions, the reach.
Most likely they're not.
They're not. Okay, first of all. And if they're bored in general, you're probably not producing good quality content in the first place.
You said that way nicer than what I was going to say. You're probably boring. That's what I was going to say.
So I think, if your content is quality, your audience is going to be happy to see it over and over again. It's going to re-spark that interest.
They're going to look for it. They're going to be searching for it,
And honestly, too, repurposing content does not mean showing it to the same person necessarily over and over again.
No,
it means on expanding beyond who you're currently speaking
repurposing. It doesn't mean just simply, putting the exact copy up.
We were talking about social media posts. When you think about social media posts, I think the first thing that comes to mind is just like text. Like, I took some text and I put it on Facebook or Instagram.
Right.
What about Pinterest?
Yeah.
Let's say that you have a business that's a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
You could literally take your, recipes.
Yeah.
And turn them into great little graphics and put your menu items on Pinterest. And when someone's searching for food ideas and they see that beautiful photo of your casserole, they're like, dang, that looks good.
Yeah.
But what happens when they click that pin?
Right.
It goes back to your website.
Yeah.
It drove traffic to your site.
It did. And
all from repurposing a piece of content you already had.
Right. And, one of the things that I know we've driven home in this podcast is consistency.
Yeah.
And when you're repurposing content like this, it's going to help you stay consistent across all your platforms, as well as have consistent content to post.
Yep. I think the biggest thing that you're going to take away from this is you are going to get the most out of the work you're doing. You're going to get the most out of the stuff you're paying for.
Absolutely.
If you're paying a copywriter to write blogs for you, and right now that's all you're getting from it, you're thinking, man, I just wish, how do I get more for my $400 a month? I wish I could do more. You can. Proof. We gave you 100 examples today. I mean, I feel like we've talked about a lot of options.
Yeah,
right?
I think we kind of
don't want to beat a dead horse here, but there's a lot of ways you can reuse that content. I don't think we even, hit the surface.
We kind of just hit the concept of how to. But anything that your company produced can be reverse engineered into another piece of content.
Yep.
Yeah.
Challenge, business growth hack for the day.
Yeah.
I feel like everything in this episode is business growth hack, in my opinion.
Kind of.
But today's business growth hack is more of a challenge.
Yeah.
I challenge you, if you have a blog post, to try to repurpose it for something. Yeah. Start with the simple ones. Copy 5 social media posts. Just go find 5 text quotes that are in that blog post that would be social content.
And there you go.
That's all you have to do.
You can even take those that you find and go create a graphic in something like Canva with that text in it.
That's right.
And you got a social
post.
Yeah.
If you're an overachiever, create a podcast.
Yeah.
Create a video script.
Do it.
If you've been somebody who's aspired to be an author, maybe take those blog posts, because you might already have created your chapters just within the blog post that you've written over the years.
Your book might be half done already.
That's right. Yeah. That is my business growth hack for the day.
Absolutely.
John, this is the most fun. Again, we've talked about this before, but sometimes we're like fading fast when we come in the studio. We're both like, dude,
I am so tired.
How are we going to do this?
We're at the end of the day.
But it's rejuvenating. It's exciting to talk to business owners about what they can do to save money, to get the most out of their marketing dollars, and most likely, grow their business the way they want to.
Oh, yeah. Can I leave them with my quote?
Oh, please, buddy.
Man,
it is magic.
I forgot I wrote this down.
Yes, you got to share that.
Believe in yourself. You're braver than you think, more talented than you know, and capable of more than you can perceive.
Boom.
Boom.
See you next week, brother.
Next week.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Business Growth Hacks Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. To get more marketing tips and tricks, follow Beefy Marketing on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Beefy Marketing. And to take your business to the next level, check out our website at www.beefymarketing.com.